Now, I want to break this up furthermore. So I want to make sure that I have a line here, and I'm going to connect it down here. Then I quite possibly want something here and bring that down there. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to paint them. I'm going to paint these lines, maybe not too strong, but strong enough. And then I'm going to take this. You know, it's okay if you get some minor jaggedness to it. That's going to add to the niceness of your final product. But when you have seams or natural seams, you can follow those, and that's gonna like help your mountains hopefully look better. Now, not an expert on this. I've always thought that it's been usually more of my weak side of going into texturing, and this looks pretty garbage right now in my book. But we're going to start doing this regardless. So I'm going to drop down back to 40. I'm going to bring this up to 3. Now I'm going to just start to slowly go around the edges of this, and what you're going to notice is that I'm focusing a lot more. I will go a little bit into that, but I'm going to focus a lot more on the top side of the lines that I'm drawing. The reason is you want to give a highlight on the bottom part. A highlight on the top part of that line, which will become the top side of your elevation. So I'm going to do that like this, and then, as you can see, when I come over here and darken the bottom bit of the elevation, right? And you can already kind of see where I'm going with this. You know, the tops, because they're the top, like you don't necessarily need to work that much on just shading the bottom there. You can have a more neutral approach. You see here, you can already see that there's a bit of irregularity that I'm going to put on that. Maybe go a little bit like that as well. Okay, and you can see how that's starting to slowly shape up. Here I probably, okay, we'll get to that around at another stage. Here, this is vertical line. Vertical line, again, you won't necessarily concentrate on shading just the top. Vertical lines, you probably want to shade both sides. Here I know this side is going to stand out more than this, so I'm going to make sure not to shade this side. And then I know this side is going to stand out, so I'm not going to shade this bottom yet. So go like that. Here, just take that, just slowly work that way. And then, where else are we going here? Shade a little bit of that. Shade here. Right. Okay, now this is very rough. I'm just showing you, in essence, see, I'm going to like just blur this a little bit further. Maybe darken a bit here and here. And now, this is what we're going to do. We're going to take the flatten tool. I'm going to bring it down maybe to like around 5. The flatten tool is the tool that is going to allow you to create the edge that is not there. So again, very lightly, I have it on speed 5. I'm going to drop it to 4. And then I'm going to start dabbing right on the line that I drew. Now the reason I'm doing it straight on that line is because when you use the flatten tool, it will start to flatten around the point that you have selected. So I'll go here, and as you can see that it's sinking the other side and lifting the side closest to me. So as you look at this, you can already see the edge is forming. That edge that I was talking about is forming. And then if I go around, you can start seeing how that's taking some degree of shape. And the edge of that ledge of that mountain, there I just dab on it, is now taking place. So there you have that bump now. It's very subtle, but it's the type of bump that you really wanted in this particular case. Now here, again, same deal. There's already a type of indentation that was present. So I'm just using that to flatten out and create the edges that I want. And you can see already how that's starting to look a little bit more like I was imagining it. Same with this. Again, see zero texture. I'm gonna go in and we're just gonna flatten. Now I know sometimes I don't necessarily have to stop constantly to make sure, but sometimes I will. And you see how that is starting to show up. And I just go on the edge here, and you can already see, okay? Now there's going to be more texturing there and more coloring there, and that's what's really going to start doing it for us. So let's go back into the texturing, and we're just going to drop a tiny bit of color on the edge. And there's more. You're going to have to go over this a couple of times. You know, you're going to have to make sure that you blend things properly, and that you take more color off from the bottom. Like this is way too it's way too bright towards the bottom anyways. So we just need to make sure that we just dither away some of that stuff. And you can always go back and add more solid rock texture. Like you should never be afraid of like over darkening or going back and forth between these the textures. I mean, you know, worst comes to worst, you just you messed up, you just start over. It shouldn't be a huge deal. Like it's very blotchy right now. I'm not entirely happy with it, but it's fine because I'm gonna go over with it. In fact, I'm gonna just make this a little bit bigger, right? Go up here and say, okay, well, let's go a little bit there, and there, and there, and there, and there, and there. And now I'm gonna come in here with my rock texture, and I'm gonna go just gently back down, just a couple of clicks at a time, making sure that I have the result that I want. And then I'm going to go ahead and just shrink this down. I'm going to make sure that the tops just have that really strong color that I want. You see? And then, boom. Now I could make another bump here. I probably will end up doing that, but that sort of gives you an idea of what we're looking at. And the same can be said here, or again, I'm just going to make this, going to go up to 6. Just darken that in a way that I would want. Okay, I'm going to go here. This side's looking fine, but I think a couple of dabs here and there will help. You know, probably we'll make another line here and make that a little bit right. And then you want to look at this line and you want to try and really, you want to soften it. You don't want it to be necessarily that obvious. So soften your lines. I feel a little bit like Bob Ross here with like the painting advice. But yeah, you're gonna soften that up. Go back up a little bit, maybe bring up to 5. Come over here, dab that down. And bring a little bit of darkness here. Dab that back down. I'll take care of this bit afterwards. Okay. Come back here, get some rock color. Do a little dab here, dab here, dab here, dab here. And then take my flattening tool again, go on that line. Come back on that line again. Maybe go a little bit stronger here. Make sure that I've got that proper ledge. Bring that down. Starting to look pretty good, but I'm also going to actually be very gentle here and just bring up the elevation a tiny bit more on this side. There. You see, and this actually starts giving me, now I can, oops, wrong one, that's fine. I want to flatten, round out that ledge, that edge, and okay, right, that's looking pretty good. In fact, I might come here now, bring this a little bit smaller, do the opposite, just bring that down a little bit, make that difference a little bit stronger. I do the same thing here, come down here, bring that slightly down, okay, shrink here a little bit more, just bring some of that elevation down, take my rock color, and now, as you can see using the lines, I see where this is coming from. So it's just dab, 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 and there you go. That's starting to look a bit nicer. And yeah, there we go. So you know, I could probably still work on that a bit more and bring it to a point where I'm happy. But yeah, that's one of the techniques that I think you'll all find useful when you're working on some of this stuff. And it definitely helps you when you're trying to work on an area that has like a very steep incline. It allows you to give you some texture. It allows your mountains not to look like this crap on this side. So as you can see, here's one side, here's the other. Not pretty, a little bit more acceptable. And then again, what else could I tell you? Okay, well, let's try something else, right? So let me just another tiny bit of detail. I'm just gonna darken this spot up quite a bit more, and the reason I'm gonna do that is because, you know, I'm gonna drop a little bit of variation. So I'm gonna take my number 1 tool and I'm gonna take the grass, and I'm just gonna slightly say, okay, well, there's gonna be a tiny amount of grass that has decided to grow on the mountain, just like that. And there you go. You have now a little fleck of grass. You can put a bush there. You can put a tree there. You can do whatever you want. But yeah, anyways, I hope you enjoyed. This is kind of a bit different video, right? I sort of just walked through a tutorial and explained step by step how I went about doing this. Normally I'm not as how would I say, as specific when I'm doing my passes. Like, I don't work this hard when I'm like designing larger areas. I'll go very roughly, and then when I'm done with that, I'll say, okay, well, I'm going to work on this little chunk of mountain for now, and I start working on that, and we'll take it from there. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope that this made some sort of sense, and that it'll be useful to all of you who are interested in texturing. Yeah, keep going, keep working on stuff, and I'll be back the following week. So until then, everybody, take it easy. Bye-bye.